Back to the thing we are revisiting. We are talking about
Introduction.
and then on the introduction we did say that you are going to have how many steps? Three, right? And the three that we are talking about is stance, orientation. And the essay that we were using is the one that says, do you agree? Right? And the question that we had was in line with Askia Muhammad being the greatest emperor in the Songhai Empire who led to the growth and prosperity. We already have it in our course. Then he said the stance for that one is, yes, I agree that Askia Muhammad is a great emperor. For those who say I don't, I'll come to you. It's not that you are wrong. You can still prove it. You said, yes, I agree with the statement that Askia Muhammad was one of the greatest emperors who led to the growth and prosperity of the Songhai Empire. Full stop. Your reason was because he introduced things like scales, right? Full stop. Orientation. This essay will discuss whatever it is that you guys say that. And it is correct. Everyone wrote a correct introduction as far as I'm concerned. Only those that I say they need to add. Right? And they know what to add. Right? So we therefore move to a P. We said for the people who have 5 points, where number one we are saying Askia Muhammad encouraged scholars to come to the Songhai Empire, or traders. Scholars, traders. Askia Muhammad introduced taxation. Askia Muhammad introduced weight scales. These are points that can stand by themselves. Are we together? Which means when you talk about the introduction of his scale, you need to talk about only the introduction of his scale. When you talk about him encouraging scholars to come to the Songhai Empire, the next paragraph should be about the encouragement of scholars to come to the Songhai Empire, and only that. How so? When you say Askia Muhammad introduced the scale system, that will be your point. Bearing in mind what the question was saying, Askia Muhammad led to the growth and prosperity, right?
Yes.
When he introduced the scale, how does it lead to the growth and prosperity of the Songhai Empire? It makes louder, is people. Equality in trade. When you have a scale, it basically means the markets are no longer going to be unfair as before when they were using it barter trading. So when it comes to this one, it is therefore going to see to it that the scale will now encourage more traders, right? And when more traders come to the Songhai Empire, the empire will grow. When it grows, it is also going to become prosperity. Can it become prosperity or it becomes prosper? No? Prosperous. Let us go back. This is our point. Askia Muhammad introduced the scale system in the Songhai markets, full stop. This will therefore lead to more traders being trusting the markets of the Songhai Empire such that they will go to the Songhai Empire to trade. Reason being, it gives them that aspect of fairness in terms of trading. You cannot trade an orange for a mirror. You cannot trade a donkey for a car. Right? And lastly, when it comes to this one, it's where I'll attend to you in a second. Lastly, one thing that you are therefore going to talk about as the link is this. The introduction of the scale therefore helped or led to the growth and prosperity of the Songhai Empire. Full stop. How so? Or you can also expand and say the introduction of the scale in the Songhai Empire, in the Songhai markets, therefore led to the growth and prosperity of the Songhai markets, leading to the growth and prosperity of the empire itself. Presuppose. I got to cut. Yeah. Alright, we are back. I was saying, we have done introduction and we know the 3 steps of the introduction. We are now trying to break down this essay in order for it to at least become 1.5 or 3 pages. Knowing that we have very small content, so we need to expand. Now, what am I saying? When you are talking about the encouragement of traders to come to the Songhai, that is, when you are talking about the introduction of the scale in the Songhai, it is, and therefore you need to be someone who's able to explain everything in line with how it leads to the growth and prosperity. Introduction of scales, we said it leads to the growth and prosperity of the markets in the Songhai Empire, such that it encourages more traders to come to the Songhai Empire. When more traders come, it means they are going to leave money in the Songhai Empire, right? And then it is going to grow and prosper. Does it make sense? Then when it comes to the end, it's wherein you are either linking back to or the next paragraph. How then do you do that? Please read yours to Belize. Give it to Orifa to read for us. What a mess.
You okay, say?
No. The L. Link. You just want to know how to write link.
This then means the beginning of the leadership of Oscar Mohammed and
Oscar?
the growth.
What? That's the answer.
Say another Askia.
Askia.
Mohammed.
Quiet.
The growth.
Afresh. Galapa. Yeah, we are teaching. People will learn from this. I can't remember.
This then means the beginning of the leadership
Askia Mohammed.
Askia.
Again.
This then means the beginning of the leadership Askia Mohammed and the growth and prosperity of the Songhai Empire. The growth. You're going to avoid some mistakes.
Let me read for you. What this mainly says, I'll start from the very top. The first point is Askia Mohammed conquered the Songhai Empire after Soni Ali's death. That is the point. Now she needs to explain what that has to do with the essay. Right? Because the essay is talking about the growth and prosperity. Continues to say, it was due to the chaos of opportunity, Soni Ali's son as king and the weakness of the leadership and the army of the Songhai Empire. And then it continues to say, this then means the beginning of the leadership of Askia Mohammed and the growth and prosperity of the Songhai Empire. When it comes to the leadership of Askia Mohammed, it is one of those that will therefore add to the growth and prosperity of the Songhai Empire. I don't know if that makes sense. Now, when it comes to the other paragraph, which means the following paragraph, so in now the expectation is you are going to talk about yet another point. Now that we have talked about a point, explanation, evidence, link, or a point, evidence, explanation, and link, which point will come after this one? We said the link, the N, is either linking to the next paragraph or it's linking to the next paragraph or the one before. So, which N are we using? The one before or the next paragraph? The next paragraph. What are we then going to say in line with the scales? You are therefore going to say something along the lines of scales are therefore going to add to the growth and prosperity of the Songhai Empire. And then more traders and scholars are going to come to the Songhai Empire. I am saying more traders and scholars are going to come to the Songhai Empire, which means the next point is talking about. Now think, it is talking about scholars. Whatever I linked at the very bottom, at the very top, needs to be spoken of and or about in the next paragraph. It's up to you to decide how you link. You cannot talk about scholars. We can't all be the people that think of talking about scholars. Some of you will think about something else, which is, what would it be? Taxes. The introduction of the scale in the markets of the Songhai Empire encouraged more people to come to the Songhai Empire, or to encourage more traders to be in the Songhai Empire, and people started making money so that they could pay taxes. That's how you link, basically. I don't know if it makes sense. Sure. So if you are talking about scholars, that means that paragraph is about scholars. You are explaining, you are giving evidence and link on what it has to do with the growth and prosperity of the Songhai Empire. Then you move from the scholars. From scholars, you are therefore going to talk about something else, which means this is a paragraph. Then you are also going to have another one. And this one, what do you think we can talk about? Let us add the text, right? So here we are going to talk about taxation, which means this paragraph will mainly talk about the link at the very top should have an opening of talking about. Does it make sense? Now comes this part that I think we can therefore try and do right now before we run out of time, which is the paragraph that is. When it comes to a conclusion, what do you guys think we mainly do here? You sum up, right? You are summing up whatever it is that you were talking off the top about. And when we say you are summing up, the expectation is you are not saying anything new. You are not going to add a poem. It's unlike a situation where you are telling a story. You are familiar with telling stories to your friends, aren't you? And you be like, hey, you told me this is when it started. This happened, this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened. And then it ends. And then you remember something or some detail, you be like, and this happened and this happened, this happened, this after closing. You don't do that in the essay. Because in the essay we do not have this part that we refer to as PS. PS is postscript in English. Where you are going to write a poem to people who have listened to Eminem's song. If you listen to Eminem's song, the Stand.
Yes.
Where he says PS, no, I'll never say whatever he says there. But whatever he says, it's because he has concluded, but there's something that he wants to say that adds on to the context of the letter, or to the content of the letter. He says, I support you, I do this, I do that, 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 I do that. And this is me, Stan, truly yours, thank you, Sharp. And then he adds PS, which means I forgot something. That is going to add to content. You don't do that in history. That's why you need to write your essay from the top to the very bottom without omitting or rushing to conclude. Because when you get to the conclusion, it means all your points have been spoken of and or about. Do not say anything new. We are not going to say, and Askia Mohammed was a very cute leader. No. When it comes to the conclusion, you are concluding, which means you are finishing up, summarizing, like Tuweli did say. So, what steps do you think we are going to have? In the introduction, we had S, R, and O, right? In the introduction, that's what we had. Wherein you were saying, yes, I agree, because this essay way, right? That's what you were saying in the introduction. But now that you are concluding, you are not going to yet again reiterate, say, yes, I agree. Are we together? Instead, for this one, we are not going to have a stance. What do we have then? We have reason and orientation. And we do know that the orientation is where you are telling us what you will do, right? But now that you are concluding, you now need to tell us what you have done or what you have spoken about. So in this instance, when it comes to this one, you are not going to say, yes, I agree yet again. No. When it starts, it's wherein you can say in conclusion. Someone might choose to take orientation I forget that because it's going to say in conclusion. This essay has discussed why Askia Mohammed is a great emperor through interrogating his leadership skills and his introduction of the scale and how it leads to the growth and prosperity of the Songhai Empire. And then you are going to give us a reason. But I did say everything at this point because when you say through the introduction of the scale, that is. But when you say in conclusion, this essay will discuss, you are telling us about orientation. And once you tell us about orientation, you can therefore add it with a reason. Are we together? Are there any questions? Or should I repeat? Yes, man.
Why did you feel the reason was the text? We spoke about the text.
You can now. That's the cute part. You see, this one is very cute. It's very demand. It's very cutesy. It's very demand. This one is very cutesy and very demure in the sense that you are talking about points, right? That you have interrogated. You can pick any to use as a reason. Because at the very end of the day, you have linked all these points to the growth and prosperity of the Songhai Empire, right? And that's one thing that you were supposed to prove in your essay, that Askia Mohammed led the empire to growth and prosperity. So if you talk about taxation and the very fact that it led to the growth and prosperity, you can use it as a reason. In conclusion, this essay has discussed why Askia Mohammed was one of the greatest emperors in the Songhai Empire, who led it to growth and prosperity through the introduction of taxation, which therefore enabled the people of the Songhai Empire to make more money so that the empire could grow and prosper. Full stop. You want another one? Let us use a prime example, which should be scholars. In conclusion, this essay has discussed why Askia Mohammed was one of the greatest emperors, who led the Songhai Empire to be one of the greatest emperors. In conclusion, this essay has discussed why Askia Mohammed was one of the greatest emperors who led the Songhai Empire to growth and prosperity through encouraging scholars to come to the Songhai Empire, which therefore meant that there was more of learning that was going to happen in the Songhai Empire. Even the society of the Songhai Empire was going to be educated, which will lead to the growth and prosperity of the Songhai Empire. Full stop. Do you get me?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Now this is your task. Please write me a conclusion for your paragraphs. You are not going to add more paragraphs. I think you understand by now. But if you want to write the whole essay, feel free to do so. And then you'll give it to me to read and mark. Danko.